What's going on, Colts Nation? I appreciate you joining me for another video where today we're going to talk a little bit more about free agency as we come toward the end of this current series of videos where we're trying to figure out where you guys are at, who you guys want at the different positions. Obviously, the interior defensive line we didn't talk about, and the wide receivers, we have so many of them, it just didn't make sense to talk about that. I think we probably have our five is kind of the way I feel about that, although we are going to have a video about another wide receiver and just to explore the options, but I think our five are pretty set going into 2025 already, so we'll see what happens after that. But on the defensive side of the ball, as we continue here, we're going to talk about the cornerback position, right? Something very like this is a position of need for the Colts. Obviously, Jalen Jones being able to step up and continuing to get better. His rookie year, ups and downs, but you saw what he could be. And then this year, as he takes on the #1 role in 2024, obviously not perfect. And in that Gus Bradley scheme, obviously the defense giving up a lot, but Jalen Jones had a really good season as a #1 corner. And going into this Lou Anarumo defense, he's going to be asked to do more. So there might be times where he gets exposed, but I also think he's going to have the ability to be more aggressive, which is going to be good. He's a physical kind of corner, bigger guy, long arms for the position. He's going to be able to get his hands on guys this year, and when he does, I think that's really going to help him. I think it's going to help our edge rushers, and overall should help our defense as a whole. But then you look on beyond that, right? You can't trust Juju Brents to stay healthy. We do have Samuel Womack. Unbeknownst to me, once we got into the offseason, I started looking into different things. Turns out Samuel Womack, we signed him on a 2-year deal, so he's already gonna be here in 2025, so we're gonna have him in that room. But again, Juju can't stay healthy, and if we're looking at making the defense better, right, and looking at the different avenues now, I think there's a chance that we don't go big at corner, because I think we could go big at safety, right, which is a conversation we're going to have tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe with notifications on. But nonetheless, I do think there's some really good options at corner. I think there is at least one, maybe even two cost-effective options that you could possibly go for in this free agency, and then there are going to be a couple more high-price guys. And to start off this list, we're going to go with Asante Samuel Jr., right? And Asante Samuel Jr. with the Chargers, obviously the son of Asante Samuel Sr. Colts fans know him very well. And with him being a free agent, now he's coming off the injury that could drop his price, but somebody who obviously very good player. His dad was really good, and that doesn't mean he's going to be great. But he came into the league. He's been really good for the Chargers. Again, missed most of the season this year. When the Chargers were finally, really at their best, he missed a lot of the season, unfortunately, and wasn't there for it. But now he's going to be a free agent. He hopes to stay with the Chargers, but we'll see what happens, right? He's already, I saw something where people are expecting the Steelers to be linked to him. And of course, a guy like Asante Samuel, like he's going on to his second contract, really good young player. Because of the injury, maybe he just takes a 1-year deal with somebody on a little bit of a discount, but because he's a really good player, eventually he's going to get a lot of money. So I think depending on the situation, go after Asante Samuel Jr., and I'd be cool with that, having him and Jalen Jones, and then obviously Kenny Moore. And then as you get into the depth, then all of a sudden you have Juju Brents, Samuel Womack as depth. That's where we get into a position where it's like, okay, if we do have injuries, it's like not the worst case scenario of all time. So I think that would be a good option. Now, this is an option, the second one, somebody that I've wanted for a long time, Charvarius Ward, who is becoming a free agent, currently not re-signed with the 49ers. And it'll be interesting to see what his market is. He's getting older, right? By the time 2025 season starts, he's going to be over 30 years old, right? Or he's going to be at 30, but right now it's 29.7 is the number I'm looking at. He's going to be 30 years old. So he was making $13.5 million average annual value on his deal with the 49ers. So what's his value going to be now? All right, this is a guy that's getting older, but a guy that's still playing really good football. Started his career with the Chiefs and was so good, and then goes on to the 49ers and has been, it got better with the 49ers, right? Obviously, throughout his career. And again, this would be one that's going to cost a lot, which makes it difficult for the other things we need to do to the roster. It's just hard to see us getting Charvarius Ward and having it make sense, honestly. So I just think that one a long shot, but would love to see it happen. With the salary cap, probably not our best option. DJ Reed is going to be the next one, guy that's been on the Jets but gets overshadowed because Sauce Gardner is so freaking good. And at the end of the day, when you look at it, like DJ Reed is an extremely underrated corner in the league, and I think if you look at the Jets defense this year, by the end of the season, like the numbers aren't great, but if you look at what DJ Reed was able to do, as long as Robert Saleh was there, and the things that he was able to do for the price that you could probably go and get DJ Reed, I think that might be a good option. Again, to get a guy, to get really any of these cornerbacks, when you're talking about the cornerback room that we have and how we really need to go about the rest of the roster, like I feel like all these guys or most of these guys it's gonna be tough. We're gonna have to release different players, and really start to rebuild this year. And bring in different guys that haven't been in the building. That's probably going to have to be the way we go to open up more cap space to rebuild in the different areas that we need to. But if you can go get a guy like DJ Reed, again, a guy that's been a number 2 cornerback on the opposite side of Sauce Gardner, so he's getting tested a lot because people aren't throwing at Sauce Gardner all the time. So DJ Reed coming into this Lou Anarumo defense, I think could be a good match with what we saw in the Robert Saleh defenses and the way that he kind of trusts his corners, right, and lets them get their hands on guys and be aggressive. So I think it could be a good fit, but we'll see what happens with DJ Reed as he becomes a free agent. Now, the last name, one that Colts fans know very well. My friends, he is a free agent once again. Is there any chance that Isaiah Rodgers would ever come back to Indy, right? And it seems like if you look at it, he doesn't seem bitter. It seems like he's learned and he's grown. He understands his mistake and even tried to make light of it, right? He had a Instagram post, I think it was, said something about, from the betting slips to the Super Bowl or something like that, and acknowledging, what had happened, and at a point where he probably thought his career was over, right? Gets suspended indefinitely is what it was. Ended up just, missing a season, and then comes back and wins a Super Bowl. And congratulated, he was a part of that. He was a big part of that. Played a lot of football for the Eagles in a year where they were the best defense in football. So good for Isaiah Rodgers, man, going out there experiencing another building. And now it'll just be, of course, a lot of things were said from Colts fans about Isaiah Rodgers, but I just think when you look back at it, I would have mixed emotions because I think he did bet against the Colts, I'm pretty sure. So in some form or fashion, or bet against one of the players to get like the under for something. I don't remember exactly what it was. But I just think it would be so cool if the same people that, that drafted Isaiah Rodgers, and I mean, they had to cut him. Like they had, when you understand the business of it, they had to cut it. And I think as Isaiah Rodgers is, growing and getting more mature as he, gets into his more middle 20s, I just think that he's at a point in life where he can kind of see that business side and know that that's what the Colts had to do, and that's the decision they had to make. And I think he understands his mistake. It'd just be really cool if we could make that reunion happen, and he'd probably be cheaper than all these other guys, right? A cheaper option, come in, put him back in the room. Like that would just be electric. I think for the locker room, that would be well, I guess that would actually probably be the issue when you think about the possible bet that he made and how the locker room would react to. I guess that might be the issue. Didn't really honestly think about that part of it until I'm sitting here rambling about it. I guess the locker room might have a problem with somebody like that coming back in, but we'll see. Again, people learn, people grow, people get better on and off the field, and I think Isaiah Rodgers has done that. But congrats to him for overcoming adversity and being able to come back, seemingly understanding his mistakes, and being a big part of winning the Super Bowl. You know, whatever happens with him, just of course wish the best for Isaiah Rodgers and hope that he just continues to get better. We all saw the potential. Just what happened is just so unfortunate that we don't get to reap the benefits of how good he was always going to be. But again, the choices at cornerback, okay, the ones that we have to choose from, you let me know your opinion down in the comments section. We're going to put the poll out probably tomorrow. And the options here: Asante Samuel Jr., Charvarius Ward, DJ Reed, Isaiah Rodgers. Okay, and of those, of course, again, the one that I would want is Isaiah Rodgers. I think maybe even on just a one-year deal, I think Asante Samuel Jr. Could be a really good option, right, in our current situation. You know, a guy like Charvarius Ward, that's the one I want the most is Charvarius Ward. He's probably a guy that's going to try to go somewhere where he feels more confident he can win a Super Bowl, but is he going to be able to get the kind of money he wants on one of those teams? And we'll see what happens during free agency, how aggressive, right? Like, we're going to have to overpay to get free agents, so I think we're going to have to cut a lot of players. We'll see what happens. If any news comes out about any of that, of course, I'll let you guys know for sure. And of course, we're going to be talking about the safeties. There are other topics and conversations coming up, and there's plenty to talk about throughout this offseason. Going to be more consistent about getting videos out now that the Super Bowl is coming on. So make sure you're subscribed. Make sure you have notifications on so you get notified anytime we drop any content on this channel. Of course, appreciate you stopping by for another video. And as always, take care of yourself, take care of each other, and go Colts.